Welcome back to the REI Hot Seat. It is another episode, and we're going to talk about Airbnb today.
It sure is another episode.
It is another episode, talking about another real live deal, and appreciating all your comments as we go. Okay, so as you know, deal review show. Last week we did negotiations. This week we're talking about an Airbnb cottage rental, a real life one. This one happens to be Jake's cottage, so he's an expert on speaking about it. We're going to talk about exactly how the numbers look on that cottage today and what it would take to buy that again today. And figure out how the numbers really work in the South Bruce, Sauble Beach area, not too far from our campground.
You got it.
Okay, so first off, Jake, tell us about the cottage, what you got, what you did to it,
Yeah.
and we'll go from there.
Well, yeah, so I'll just preface it by saying, I had a lot of people reach out recently looking for this type of product. I think it's a great time to look for this type of product. I know you and I were kind of playing around with it.
Because the values are a bit soft right now.
They're very soft. The first thing that's going to soften when interest rates go up is going to be the secondary, the toys, the Ferrari, the boat, right? Like those are the
some
things
people
that
a cottage is a toy. Of course it is, but I mean, on the other end of it, there are people who would vacation in Greece next summer who are now thinking, let's just vacation local.
And that's it, right? Yeah. So we've seen in all markets, Muskoka, Prince Edward County, we've seen these markets soften quite a bit. Right. Yeah. So I think it's a great time to buy, bad time to be me who owns there. But,
well, but when you get into stuff, like this is why cash flow is so important, because you're willing to ride it out a little bit. You had your opportunity to refi, you had a bunch of equity in it. And maybe that's changed a little bit if you were to sell today. But if you sell in 10, 15 years, you'll never know the difference, hopefully.
Yeah. Every investment I look at, I'm doing a 5-year spread.
Yeah.
Right. Everything I look at, I go, what's the 5-year projections on this?
Yeah.
Because that's really what matters, right?
Yeah. You got to be willing. I mean, for me, like, I guess I err on the side of conservative. Like, I always say, would I be willing to keep this property for 20 years? And that's a key question, because if the property annoys you to own, that's where you kind of make some different decisions. And my answer to that might change. And if my answer to that does change, that's when I sell the properties.
Yeah. No, it's a very, very good way to look at it. But yeah, getting into this cottage. So the one we're going to be talking about is my Bay Street cottage. Yeah. So it's water facing.
A nice place to stay, by the way. So
yeah, it's up on Airbnb. Yeah. I have some bookings already in for next year.
Get it while it's hot.
Exactly.
Get it while it's hot. So it's a 2-bedroom, right?
It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom.
Looking at the water. So you got a road in between, looking at the water, but you can get into the water.
But I am technically waterfront because the road ends at the water.
Yeah, there's no cottage on the other side. Yes. The road's on the water.
So we can advertise it as waterfront.
Waterfront.
Right? But yeah, so it's about 1,000 square feet.
Okay.
In and around there. When I bought it back in 2019, it was uninhabitable. Right, like the roof was coming in.
Yeah, you did a lot of work.
You couldn't live there.
So what'd you do to it?
And I wanted to say that is because my numbers are obviously going to be very different than buying today. But I bought a number of years back. So anyways, I went in there. We did a full reno on it. So we opened it up. We vaulted the ceilings, pot lights, new kitchen,
spray foam insulation.
Yeah. We did a bump out addition for the kitchen, so it's actually an addition now. Brand new bathroom. We did a nice walk-in shower with kind of a stone finish. So we did a ton of work. Nice big deck out front. I got another deck in the back. Fire pit. Newest addition. I just put a sauna there. Which has been very cool.
So objectively, like a couple things, and I think you're pretty objective about it too. Like obviously, one improvement would be actually having a dock right into the water if you could. Like that would be probably a pretty big moneymaker if you could do that.
And so we've looked into it. Right, like I do have a walkway out to the water.
Yeah.
The challenge is the water there fluctuates so dramatically. Like
it's
right?
very shallow walkout. Like I've walked out into this water where you can walk like 300 meters and you're only at your waist.
So my walkout one year will be a dock. The next year it's going to be a walkout. Not even there. Right.
Yeah, it doesn't work so well for that there. However, still a really awesome area. There's still like public beaches in the area. Yeah. Huge, like I don't know how well this works for the Airbnbs, but huge ATV culture. Yeah. In the winter, there's snowmobile culture, which I understand you're not really running it in the winter.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
One day maybe, right? Yeah. So obviously the big benefits there are a beachy vibe, a really well renovated cottage with lots of space, lots of place to have fire, and you can still get to the water. People can do their boating stuff. And you've been packed.
Have been.
Yeah. But so you could go the next level and get like a hot tub and,
I can, but where I'm sitting today, so summers I have 100% occupancy for 4 months.
100% occupancy for 4 months. So the 4 months we're talking about are starting in May or starting in June?
Like end of May.
Okay, so like May 15th through September 15th?
Like May 2-4 weekend is kind of the first,
right.
That's the first when the bookings really start.
Yeah.
Before then, I might have 1 or 2 here and there.
So in May, what do you think you would earn?
Well, so I'm $350 a night.
Okay, even in May?
Yep.
Times how many nights would you rent in May?
Let's say I get 40% occupancy in May.
Okay, so we'll call it like 13 nights. So May is like $4,550 or $4,500 income.
Yeah, well, $5,000. I can actually pull my numbers up. I was about $6,000 this year in May.
So we'll say 5. We can alter that a bit. So in June, then you're still $350 a night, or are you up?
$350.
This was based on this past season.
Okay,
so $350, and then you're like 100% occupied or 99.
Yep.
So June's got 30 days in it. So that's about 10,500.
That's bang on. Yeah.
And then July, same thing.
Yep.
And then we have August, pretty much the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then what about September? That's still a hot month.
September's pretty booked. Like I've run this now for 4 years, right? 4
Yeah.
or 5 years. So some years September will be busier than others, right? So
Yeah.
May and September are kind of the fringe because
Yeah.
it's really weather dependent, right? If you have a nice September, it's
Yeah.
going to be full. You're going to be 100%.
Do you go into October at all?
I do. So I run it all the way to the end of October.
Okay, so October, what do you get? You 50% in October?
Very similar to May. Like we're back
Yeah.
at kind of 35 to 40%.
Yeah, okay. So maybe back around 5,000. So, and you said your May was about 6,000. So is it about similar for October, you think?
Yep.
Okay. So that's about 50 grand, just a hair over 50 annual revenue on that.
Yep.
Now, have you run that against what you'd get? Like, let's put that in context. Like, what does that work out to be a month for a 1,000 square foot place that you bought for how much?
$260.
That works out if you average that over 12 months. That's $4,200 a month. That's more than you're going to get on a monthly rent.
Yeah.
Okay, so pretty lucrative. And let's just go over here and sub in our rent. So we'll take that 50,000 divided by 12. Okay, so 4,208 on average. So Jake, what are the property taxes on this place?
So roughly about 27 to 3 grand.
Okay, so we'll call it 3 grand. Jake, what's the insurance on this place?
It's $199 a month.
Okay, so equals 199 times 12.
And a nice little tidbit there is it's a bit more expensive because I have explained everything to my insurance company,
Yes.
right? I don't hide any of that because that's...
So Jake, we know somebody, we just had this conversation, who didn't disclose Airbnb use, had a claim, and got it denied. If you don't disclose, you're not actually insured. So it doesn't, you're paying, you could be paying $100 a month, but you're not actually insured. So you're just wasting $100 a month.
Here's the thing, right? And at the end of the day, like, okay, so wood-fired sauna added $25 a month. You know, Airbnb rental added $25 a month.
And Airbnb insures you too, but you don't want to be, I'm guessing it'd be better to claim through Airbnb than it would be through your insurance company.
Yeah.
Because Airbnb is not going to treat it like a claim. Like you're not going to have to disclose that, I don't think, to your insurance
Never
company.
had to. Hopefully I don't.
I would still disclose it, say
Yeah.
I claimed through Airbnb, but they'll probably understand, okay, that's a little bit different than homeowners insurance. Okay, so utilities for that place, obviously you don't operate year round. You blow out all the lines in the winter.
Yep.
I mean, I guess it's really just air conditioning,
About
electric.
$250 to $300.
For those 4 months.
Yep.
Or 5 months, I guess.
Yeah.
So let's call it 300 times 5, so 1,500 a year, because you're on a well.
So I'm septic.
Well and septic, so there is some pumping every few years. Like we could technically throw in.
If it's a healthy system.
Yeah, if it's
like every 2 years.
Yeah, so let's just throw in a number for pumping at $200.
Yeah, it's about $200 a pump.
Yeah, just because it will happen.
Yeah.
Maybe they overuse it 1 year, you got to do it. So, but that's still cheaper than paying water sewer from the city.
That's it.
Yeah, and then there's well treatment. Do you have to do well treatment?
No.
Or do you just tell people don't drink the water?
I just say don't drink the water, right? Yeah. We give water.
That's handy.
We give water systems, and then I just say don't drink it. Now we do water test.
Yeah.
Every year, I choose to do it just to make sure that the water is drinkable. It's on Sandpoint, so it's not actually well.
Sandpoint.
It's a Sandpoint system.
And I don't fully understand what a Sandpoint is. I guess it's just not as deep.
It's not as deep. So Sandpoint's basically like gathering like almost surface water.
Yeah.
Right. Like you dig like this spike into the ground.
Yeah.
And it's got perforations, and then the water kind of goes into it.
Well, I mean, your water level is pretty high because the water's across the road, so you're basically lake water. Although it's a nicer lake, right? Lake Huron. Okay, management. You're not actually paying an outside company. You're doing it yourself, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I got $500
I've automated
in there.
everything.
A 1% management fee, so that just covers your miscellaneous. And then landscaping, you pay somebody to cut the grass?
Yep. So it's $30 a cut.
Yeah, equals 30 times
4 times a month.
30 times 4 times 5 months.
Yep.
And they do fall cleanup, like leaves and stuff as well.
Yeah, and then they go and do their fall cleanup.
Yeah, so maybe a couple $100 for that too.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll add on a couple $100. Okay, and then we've got consumables. That's the big thing with Airbnbs.
Yeah, so consumables. So I order everything off Amazon. I have it shipped right to the cottage. Toilet paper, cleaning supplies.
Yeah, so it all comes in. Are you like $100 a month for the operational months, like toilet paper?
I honestly do a bulk order at the beginning of the year, and that will last me the whole summer.
So what's your bulk order?
$1,000.
$1,000. Okay, so $1,000, and then when we calculated the 50,500, is that including the cleaning fee that's being charged on Airbnb? So your cleaning fee is basically enough to pay your cleaning people.
I make a bit off of my.
You make a bit off of it. I'm going to leave it as a wash because it's simple. So basically, what we're saying is your income's actually even better than the 50 because it pays your cleaners plus leaves you a bit of money.
Yeah, and then there's also a municipal tax.
Yeah,
right?
so
4% municipal accommodation tax
on the 50,000.
On the 50,000.
And so is that coming out of what you make?
No, so the 50 is my
you
take
charge
home.
it on top.
Correct.
Okay, so people are willing to pay that. That's a newer thing up there because they didn't have that the previous year.
HST.
Fortunately, we escaped that with our campground because we're a commercial property and they didn't require it, which is awesome. You have to charge HST. Is that
HST.
You're adding that on as well?
Well, the reason I do that is because I'm making over 30.
Yeah.
Right. And it's in a corporation.
Yeah. The HST rules, talk to your accountant, but I mean, pretty much the answer that seems to always come back is charge it.
Yeah.
So especially with this business, because you intend to make good money.
That's it. Yeah. Right. So let's break it down. Right. Yeah. So it's going to be $350 a night, plus 13% HST,
plus the 4%,
plus the $300 cleaning fee.
Yeah,
and then there's a service fee.
Yeah, you get Airbnb charges that service fee, and you don't do direct bookings right now, just Airbnb.
No, just Airbnb.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go forward with that. Obviously, service fees paid for by the guest, and the numbers you gave me were actually not net of the fee. So you got to add in that fee, don't we? Because you said $350 a night. But what's the number you're advertising? You're paying Airbnb a bit.
$350 a night.
Oh, is that what you're netting?
I'm netting $350 a night.
Oh, you're netting. Okay, yeah. Because
everything else is on top.
Okay, everything else is on top. Yeah. All right, awesome. Okay, so what would somebody have to pay to get this cottage renovated like this one today?
Fully renoed? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the exciting part, right? Is that we've seen these cottages come down. I would say you're safely probably sitting in the mid 5s to high 6s for something decent. If you want like fully renoed done, I would say you're into the 700s up into $1 million, depending on where.
For this size?
Oh, for this size?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you're saying 1,000 square feet. Let's keep it in that.
So 1,000 square feet in the area, you're going to be sitting, let's call it 575 to about 699.
With that kind of waterfront front view? So we could say maybe 600?
600 is very safe.
So 600. So if somebody were able to buy this today.
There's actually one right now, $4,599.
Okay, so there you go.
And I looked at.
So you got to call Jake on that one.
Yeah.
Or fill out the form underneath.
Right on the water.
Yeah. Okay, so 6.35% cap rate. That's, historically, a year ago I would say that's awesome. But let's see how those numbers work now. So Jake, let's assume we can get an 80% first mortgage with an A lender, $480,000, 30-year amortization. Let's say the rate right now is around 5.5% with an A lender. So that's going to work out to $2,706. Obviously, it would be better if that was lower. In the past, it was. However, if we think about how long are you actually operating this, like for the months you're operating, what's your actual cash flow?
Well, and here's my thing, right? So I'll let you know, Andrew, like my biggest flaw is I don't operate it in the winter. Yeah. Right? I know a ton of people are, and maybe that's because I'm lazy. I don't know. But
you could.
Lots going on. Right?
There's obviously a different angle. You got to throw in a hot tub. But I mean, if you figure just break that cash flow, so annual cash flow is $5606. So according to this mortgage rate, not the mortgage rate you got, but that works out to be $1120 a month for those 5 months of operation. Mm-hmm. And then of course, there's this huge opportunity. Now all you got to do is bring in some winter business.
Yep.
And I know like a guy like Kyle Ford, for instance, he thrives in the winter. They pack their properties in the winter. They have hot tubs at all of them. They do winter themes. So there's obviously room to grow here, which I really like about this. And when we bought our camp, that was a big thing. We wanted room to grow. We don't operate that in the winter either. There's some bylaw restrictions with that. But, we're both thinking outside the box. Like, how do you make your asset perform better and better over time?
Yeah.
And with this, I really like the idea that you can continue to add value.
And like I'll say, right, the purpose of me buying this cottage in particular was to have something for myself, have some cash flow, and I really enjoy the operations of Airbnb, right? Like getting a good review on Airbnb makes my day kind of thing, right? Versus dealing with a long-term tenant. So there's pros and cons. And obviously you go buy the $1 million cottage, you're going to have more cash flow, more profit there. Right now you're $500, $600 a night.
Which there may be more demand this year for local vacation.
Yeah.
Like when the airline industry gets hit and people don't go away, there might be a lot more people wanting to do the summer stays at cottages. Like just like when there were lockdowns, people didn't travel, they vacationed local and it was hot. And you obviously benefited from that. You had people renting those years.
But we've been steady. Like I've always been steady there.
And that's great. Like so this is relatively hands off for you. Jake, how does somebody make a move into this? Like, say somebody is a regular investor with rental properties and they want to take advantage of something like this because they can see there's an opportunity to cash flow.
Yeah.
Is it realistic for them to do it and to manage it themselves?
I think it is, right? So obviously I work as a realtor 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. I have other investments. We have the campground. I have a couple other things happening there. And I do manage this all by myself. I have a cleaner. I have a guy I can call to come fix the sink if it's leaking, right? A handyman. And I have the app, the Airbnb app. I don't even have special programs or anything like that, which I totally should.
It's just opportunities.
It's better opportunities, right? So am I maximizing it? No. But am I taking everything home and not paying a management company? Yes. Right. So for me, having the cottage, being able to refi or do what you want for a bigger lift at that point. And then I honestly maybe talk to my guests a year.
Yeah.
Right.
Like when something goes wrong.
Yeah. Everything's automated. Right. So what I'll have is they'll book. As soon as they book, a notice goes out saying, thank you very much for booking. There's a video link. They click on the video link. It's an overview of the cottage.
Shows them.
Shows the beach, shows the backyard, goes over everything. That gets people really excited. Within 48 hours of their stay, another one goes out, right? All the rules and regulations, the access instructions, what to do. During their stay, 2 days into their stay, they get another one saying, hey, just wanted to check in.
All automated. Okay. Right? And that's all through Airbnb's platform?
All through Airbnb platform. Okay. And it says their name, right? Like, hey,
So
Andrew,
it's nicely done. Yeah, it's a slick platform.
So it's a great platform for it, if you know. And then on their checkout, the day they check out, the morning of, they'll get another one saying, hey, just a reminder, take the garbage out, do this, do this, do this. And I would say 95 to 99% of my stays, they don't even communicate with me, and I get a 5-star.
Yeah, so you've kind of, you've invented the wheel here. You've put in the legwork to learn the systems so that they sort of manage themselves. And a couple of key contacts, which assuming, I mean, if somebody were to work with you, they would have an opportunity to maybe benefit from those contacts as well.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, I don't want this one to get too long. Interesting conversation. I do think that in a time where cash flow is still a bit of a precarious thing, these vacation rentals present a very unique opportunity. Yeah. So I definitely, you know, my head's at that space, obviously thinking about that even with my Florida stuff. So Jake, where do people go if they want to talk to you and maybe learn how they can get one of these?
Yeah. So, well, they go to the link below.
Yeah, link in the description of the video.
If you sign up, I'll be notified and would be happy to talk to anybody about Airbnbs. I have an immense knowledge of the area that I'm invested in. And I think that's really important. You need to know, you need to work with somebody who knows the area. Right, it's so important. You're one street to the left. Oh, that's the bad area. One street to the right. No, that's really popular. You need to know these little things, right? Where are the snowmobile trails? Where are the ATV trails?
Yeah.
Where can you ice fish in the winter? So work with somebody that knows the area. I don't know all the areas. I'll say that very, very freely. Anyone that works with me knows that. I say that right away. I say, hey, if you want to go here, I don't know that area.
Yeah, not your guy.
I can put you in touch with somebody who does. But for that South Bruce, North Bruce area, basically grew up there, you know, going every year.
Yeah, you got the family cottage there. And
that's
stuff.
it, right?
So, yeah, and I love that area too. Like, it's a really cool spot. And it's lesser known, right? It's not Muskoka. People don't know about it as much, which anytime something like that happens, it is an opportunity. Of course, it's been getting more and more popular. Big reason why we bought the campground up there, because more and more people are coming up there. So anyways, that's all we got for this week. Thanks, Jake, for doing this. We'll see you again on the next week's episode. Until then, leave us some comments, hit the like, subscribe, notification bell, and we'll see you then.